All right, y'all. In a recent interview with ID Magazine, Kim Kardashian discussed being accused of cultural appropriation and blackfishing this year. Kim said, "I would never intentionally try to appropriate the culture in that way." She went on to explain, honestly, a lot of the time it comes from my daughter asking us to do matching hair. And I've had these conversations with her that are like, hey, maybe that hairstyle would be better on you and not on me. The reality star added, but then there's also a history of braiding hair in Armenia. And people forget that I am Armenian as well. What are your thoughts on Kim K denying cultural appropriation? And do you think she is or do you think she isn't?
You know, when I got this story earlier, I went about this and I was like, how can I say what I want to say without upsetting a bunch of Black women? Here is what I don't think. I don't think that there's some magical table that the Kardashians sit at and they say, what are the Black girls doing today that I can copy and make mine? I don't think it's that intentional. I think that we need to be more upset at the mainstream media that blows up the things that she does and makes it theirs, meaning the braids and all this type of stuff. I mean, when we start getting into this cultural appropriation stuff to the Black women of America, then what are we asking for? Are we saying that we have the only license to braids, to body shapes, to certain styles of dress? And I get it that she gets to wear it and be glorified, and y'all wear it every day and get vilified, but that's not her fault. So I just don't know what the ask is from the Black female population when it comes to Kim Kardashian and the cultural appropriation thing.
Interesting. Okay. Al, what do you think on this?
I can't agree with Funky on this. I think the Kardashians are very smart. I think they know exactly what they're doing. I think that they know Black women are beautiful and the essence and everything about them takes the room and steals the attention. And they want the attention and they want the room, so they copy it. Now, this what I will say about her talking about most of the time is just her saying what her daughter wants to do. Now, Kim Kardashian is technically now the mother of 4 Black kids, 2 Black females and 2 Black males. So I'm gonna give her a pass on that. But let's be very clear, Kim and the Kardashians, you guys have been appropriating Black women for their shape, their hairstyle, and after their men for more than 2 decades now. And that's just it. We can't pretend like they haven't. And this was long before she started raising 4 Black kids.
Again, Claudia, help me. I didn't mean to cut you off. Okay. Help me with the ask. Like, what is it that troubles Black women about them?
You know, it is a little bit of a jealousy thing, and here's why. Imagine if something that you do on your daily, that's just part of who you are, doesn't really get celebrated when you do it, but then another race does it, and it's like, that's amazing. You know what I'm saying? I remember, and this didn't start with Kim K, because we can go all the way back to Bo Derek. With those braids, and people acted like that was like a new trend that she started. And then every Black girl, like I remember growing up, my grandmother braided my hair when I was like 9, 10 years old with the beads and everything. But it wasn't celebrated until a white woman did it. As far as Kim Kardashian appropriating our culture, she does.
She does.
She does. I'm gonna share something real quick. Regular. And I don't mean to bow wow y'all and be like I was there too, and you know, but what I'm gonna just say this. Years ago, I was in Las Vegas. I saw Ray J with this beautiful Persian girl that was extremely thin and no hips, no ass, just a pretty girl. And then I saw the same girl with Ray J in LA at a party on Sunset. It was Kim Kardashian. And she was cute. I noticed her being pretty, but it wasn't like va va boom. Years later, her and I became cool. We hung out a little bit and she had ass and a shape. And that shape of the Black woman that she took on is what blew her up. Now, I don't know if she's purposely trying to appropriate, but she does know what's popping. And that's what made her pop. Right. And being closer to the shape of a Black woman is what made, like, it's a mind F, right? Like, wow, she has the face of like Jasmine from, Aladdin, but then she's got this voluptuous video vixen body. I understand why people would be fascinated with her. And she's a beautiful woman.
Full lips. Don't forget the full lips.
So again, my question is, what do
we want?
What do we want? And number two, if you go to any cornbread fed town in Georgia, you will find white girls in the trailer park with a shape. You know what I'm saying? So we can't sit here and act like we've got the only license to a shape. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, but their booties are more wide than perky.
I think we should agree to disagree on this one.
Well, my question is, I really want to know, what is it that you want then? Are we, as the national delegation of Black people, are we saying out loud for the next presidential campaign that the next candidate needs to run on the platform and say, can't nobody else go get plastic surgery and get a BBL?
I think you're missing the point, Q. Like, for instance, let's just take
pay homage. Pay homage to where you got it.
Y'all want her to say, y'all want her to walk on the red carpet and say, shout out to all the Black girls rock?
Well, maybe one interview where you just kind of acknowledge it and just not act like it's like when you sample a song, right? You got to pay for it, right? You got to acknowledge it. It's kind of along the lines like, we sampled. The Black woman's body's been sampled and used and remixed and then celebrate and get Grammys over here when they do it. But when we do it, it's just like, ghetto Black booty. And they say stuff like that.
Here is how I look at it, right? People can say the same thing with Justin Timberlake. Now, in the Black community, finding a Black boy that can sing soulful R&B, we're a dime a dozen, right? Mm-hmm. In the white community, finding a white boy that can do country music, a dime a dozen. Justin and Robin Thicke came through with their R&B stuff, and it was different because they were different. And I think with Kim, first of all, Black people as a whole, let's stop pretending like her brand is even for us, because it ain't. For white people who live in their little white boxes, number one, being Armenian, she's palatable. Number two, they celebrate her because in their world, it is different. Like when they put that lady in that magazine and wrote that she was the trendsetter for them braids, the person that wrote that believed that.
But you know what's funny? Kim Kardashian, if you go back to her history, when she was first on the scene, she was rocking with the white girls. She was hanging with Paris Hilton and them. And guess what? She didn't pop when she was just hanging with Paris Hilton. It wasn't until she started hanging with
Brandy,
Diana Rouse's daughter, Chutney, okay, and Sierra and Lala. It made her super relevant. And like those were the it girls. You know what I'm saying? So, and there's nothing wrong with that because she's right. They are the it girls. But it definitely made her pop. I guess I hate to say jealous. I think that's a primitive way of saying it, but it's kind of like we kind of feel leapfrogged, like we get used to be popping. And I think that's what was swallow Black culture. And I don't think Kim I don't think she's negative. I don't think she's intentionally trying to be a bad person, but she recognized that that's where it's at.
I just want us to make sure that our anger is pointed in the right direction. And it's I think it should be more at the institution and the media than it is Kim Kardashian, because no tea, no shade. If I was her, and if first of all, it's human nature. Our brains operate on the reward system.
Yeah.
Things that make us feel good, we continue to do. Things that don't, we do away with. If I realize that all I had to do is this, and I pop, that's human nature to keep doing it.
I'm not mad at Kim K either. I'm not. You know why? Because unlike a lot of other people who appropriate our culture, she actually has put in some actual work that does benefit the Black community. Like all this stuff she's been doing and putting herself in the front with prison reform and all this kind of stuff. She's done some great things. So I'm actually not mad at Kim. Like if that's what we're gonna get in exchange, I think more white celebrities that do this should take note and give back and not just take.
And I know women, and I don't want y'all to think that I'm not on y'all side, Black women, because I am. I'm just trying to have a robust conversation and get a greater understanding. Because here's something else that y'all do there. And I see on social media that they say, well, if she's appropriating culture, y'all appropriating culture with them ugly ass blonde wigs, okay? And then, then y'all always want to go find that one picture of the Aboriginal people in Australia talking about Black people have blonde hair too. Girl,
You're right. And that's something.
And it's like, no, we don't. Black people do not have blonde hair, okay? There's a small first of all, we all come from Africa, number one. There's a small subset of Black people on a small island somewhere that naturally grow blonde hair out their head. You ain't never seen them walking down your street in Alabama. You didn't go to church with them, and ain't none of them in your family. So give them white women's back their hair.
You're right. And that's not a conversation that a lot of people are ready to have. And it's so true. And sometimes when I see certain shades of blonde on certain people, I'm like, y'all got to stop with this. Like it ain't even the right. It's too brassy. You need to put some toner on that. So you're right. But anyways, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Great conversation. And listen, we're here to have robust conversations and not always agree. All right, y'all. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with more TGIF after this.
Get them white women back they have.